Silver is crashing. We don't know if it's going to stop. Kim Jong-un met with Putin today. Mexico randomly released 2 mummified aliens saying that they captured these and they're over 1,000 years old. We have a lot to discuss.
Connection established.
Welcome back, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer, so now let's talk silver. I put together a great video for you guys and gals today. You're going to want to stick through all of this because at the end we'll share a little bit of something that's not really silver related, but I still want to talk about it and how it could affect the price of precious metals, more specifically silver. If you don't know, I post daily videos. But we're not even just talking about crazy times in the United States. We're talking geopolitical events happening almost every day that are just shocking. And to say a couple that happened today, Kim Jong-un met with Vladimir Putin. I think last time they met was in 2019. And we also have Mexico just coming out of the blue, cold turkey, saying, yo, we have 2 alien bodies. And here they are, public display, saying they date back 1,000 years. And it's insane. The whole point is, though, when you're living in crazy times, you got to expect crazy prices, and right now, especially with inflation data coming out, there's going to be a lot of volatility in these markets. I wanted to show the 3-month chart just to step out, step back a little bit and look at the bigger picture, because look at this. Right now, people are freaking out because silver's dropping down. It was almost to 25 and now it's down to 22 something. But look at the past 3 months, what happens when it drops down here. It bottoms out. You got to look back and see the bigger picture because people are thinking, oh, it's going to go down, down, down. There's a lot of resistance at this level. This is probably a great time to capitalize, take advantage of these lower prices because it's going to go back up. Let's look at the 6-month chart. You see, time and time again, silver's price consolidates, it stabilizes at this level, and then you see a nice rally coming shortly after that. So, we're going to go over silver's price right now. This is a price forecast. Silver drops below $23 ahead of U.S. headline CPI. And we're talking about, losses due to recovery in the U.S. dollar. Upbeat U.S. Treasury yields could provide support in undermining the silver asset, and elevated inflation figures could further reinforce the Fed's hawkish tone supporting the greenback. Now, we know there's a direct or a negative correlation between the dollar index and silver prices, right? When the dollar index is high, gold and silver is low, and vice versa. So obviously, when the dollar's looking a little stronger, silver's going to look down. But do you think that the dollar's going to strengthen forever? Do you think the dollar's going to survive forever? No. And when that happens, that is going to push precious metals higher. That's why it's called a safe haven. That's why people are taking these fake greenbacks and putting it into something that holds its value, that has been real money for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. It's a no-brainer. We're not going to go into why silver stacking is so great. I just want to talk about the prices. I want to talk about what all is happening and my opinion on when silver will quote-unquote explode or skyrocket, as the title says. But also, I want to get a little funky at the end and cover some of these crazy situations that's been happening around the world. So with that said, let me know what you think about this. Make sure you subscribe. Also, a lot of you guys been asking, a lot of you are new stackers and asking where to buy from. I recommend Miles Franklin. Send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Let them know Silver Slayer sent you. Great company, very respected, great prices. Andy Scheckman's the CEO. If you guys don't know him, great guy, one of the most respected dealers out there. So yeah, email is in the description of the pinned comment. So let's look at this. Silver price forecast. I'm curious what their forecast is, if they actually give a forecast and not just kind of beat around the bush. I like looking at actual numbers. Silver price continues to lose ground on the second day, trading lower around $22.90 during the Asian session on Wednesday. The pair is experiencing downward pressure due to improved U.S. dollar. And this was actually written today. This is fresh off the press, 9/13, September 13th, 2023. So silver price continues to lose ground on the second day, trading lower lower, around $22.90. You can see right now it's $22.89. Additionally, the upbeat U.S. Treasury yields contributed to underpinning the strengthening of the greenback ahead of the release of the Consumer Price Index, or also known as CPI, data from the United States. The yield on the U.S. 10-year bond improved to 4.28% by the press time, snapping the recent losses. And it's funny, how much speculation or how much a little bit of news can affect someone's strategy or their perception or how they handle their money, in such a drastic manner. Any inflation aberration could further reinforce the hawkish sentiment following the likelihood of a 25 basis point interest rate hike by the U.S. Federal Reserve in either November or December meetings. Do you think that's going to happen? Let me know in the comments. Additionally, there is an expectation that the Fed will remain or maintain higher interest rates over an extended period. These developments could potentially lead to a rise in the U.S. bond yields, which may negatively impact the silver prices, obviously. But this is all speculation. Remember, a lot of crazy stuff is coming up. We have the 2024 election. We have just a lot of stuff. And so you can't just look at one piece of information that might look bearish towards silver or might point towards lower silver prices, because there's so many other factors that also influence. Yes, the dollar index is one of the stronger things, but there is other things. And even going off just the dollar index, it's highly likely that those numbers, those percentages aren't going to hold up, and a lot of times they're just downright the opposite. The US dollar index, which assesses the performance of the US dollar against a basket of other major six currencies trading higher around 104.7 DXY, snaps a 3-day losing streak. Moreover, though robust greenback is expected to maintain its resilience, primarily because it has the capacity to absorb the effects of higher interest rates. This strength can make the US dollar more attractive to investors. And I don't know who is investing into dollars, but if you're investing into something that has lost 98% of its original purchasing power, if you're investing into something that isn't backed by anything, where a country is $32 trillion in debt, throwing billions or trillions left, right, front, center, sideways, in the middle, then you might want to reassess your strategy. That's not even strategizing. That's just throwing money at the wall and hoping it sticks. That's called gambling. See, investors make strategic decisions based off information. We take the information and we use it to our advantage. That's why investing has a much higher percentage, or the odds are much more likely in our favor than playing scratch-offs or trying to win the lottery, right? Gambling and investing are two totally different things. We know what happens when the dollar performs a certain way, and silver, looking forwards, only makes sense, and gold. Precious metals do. If you're trying to say that I'm taking my money out of precious metals and putting it back into the dollar, you're going off of pure speculation. There's no fact, there's no evidence that supports that's a good idea, but I can name 20 different reasons why silver and gold is a good idea to invest into. Here's another article I wanted to cover real quick before we jump into the crazy stuff about aliens and rainbows and unicorns and the people that could literally bomb the whole entire world meeting together, and who knows what they're talking about. We'll find out in a second. But anyways, silver forecast. I wanted to stop real quick and ask you guys a question. What do you think silver's price will be this time next year? Because remember, like I said, the 2024 election will be here. The BRICS nations will probably move a lot farther ahead in their game plan, right, with this digital currency backed by physical commodities, right, that is joining forces against the United States, basically kicking us, to the curb. Who knows what's going to happen, with that situation. We also have states that are now bringing back the gold standard and actually using silver as legal tender to even pay off debts. So there's so many different things happening. We're in foreign waters. We've never seen this before. The USD's always been the world's reserve currency, so what effect is that going to play, especially since silver is directly correlated to the dollar index's strength? You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of unknown variables. There's a lot of ifs. There's a lot of whats. There's a lot of what ifs, and any type of forecast is pure speculation. That's why if anyone says silver's price is going to be this next year, don't listen to them. You have to just look at what's the most likely. But at the end of the day, like I always say, silver stackers are going to get the last laugh, because regardless of what silver price is next year, I don't plan on selling for 10, 15, 20 years. So it doesn't even matter. But I am curious for you guys to let me know what you think silver's price will be September 2024. So Monday ushered in a noticeable dip in the silver market, casting a veil of uncertainty over traders as they grapple with the market's elusive direction. Presently, silver teeters dangerously close to the lower threshold of a range it is occupied for an extended duration. At the pivotal $22.50 level, a substantial support structure exists, and the possibility of descending to that marker cannot be dismissed. It is clear that silver needed a breather, but it seems hesitant to embark on a significant move at this juncture. So let's go back, as I showed before. Let's go to like the 1 month chart so we can kind of get a better look. So it was down $22, started to rally, got up to, and now it's back down. But remember, when you step back, there's a lot of support. If you guys don't know, support is what it's trying to stay above. Resistance is what it's trying to break above. So there's a lot of resistance around $25, $26, but there's also a lot of support at $22, $23. So let's keep moving on. Says, should the $22 threshold falter? So they're saying if it does break below that support that it's been withstanding for several months, prospects could further deteriorate, potentially resulting in a descent to the $20 level should the prevailing pessimism persist. Chart analysis reveals a protracted back and forth pattern that has endured for several months, signaling the enduring presence of a range-bound scenario. This phenomenon is emblematic of markets accumulating positions in anticipation of the impending fall season and the onset of colder months, a cyclical pattern that recurs year after year. Yes, it's usually bearish during the end of the year with the holidays. People are traveling. People aren't really paying attention. A lot of people sell their silver to buy Christmas presents. A lot of people are depressed around the holidays and make silly choices. And it's just, it's not a very, it's not a very bullish time. Be vigilant. I like that. In the event of a reversal, surmounting the high of Thursday's session could signal an ascent towards recent peaks. However, a formidable obstacle looms at the $25.50 mark, historically a formidable barrier for silver. Like I was saying, that resistance. Overcoming this barrier may pave the way for a climb to $26.50. However, several critical factors merit close scrutiny, like I was just saying. All those different, factors, variables. Firstly, the trajectory of the U.S. dollar holds sway given the historical inverse correlation between silver prices and the dollar strength. Like I mentioned, a direct negative correlation. Additionally, the outlook for industrial demand remains uncertain, particularly in the light of discussions surrounding initiatives such as the Green New Deal, like I talk about a lot. And lastly, interest rates warrant vigilance as higher rates have the potential to diminish the allure of precious metals like silver. In summary, so here we go. The silver market encountered a downturn, leaving traders grappling with the enigma of its future trajectory. While a descent to $22.50 remains plausible, the market finds itself ensnared in the recurring range-bound cycle that has persisted for an extended period. The prospect of breaching this $25.50 threshold offers a glimmer of hope, contingent upon variables such as U.S. dollar's performance, industrial demand, interest rates. For the present, it appears that silver will continue to traverse its familiar range, a pattern that has held steadfast since May of this year. Consequently, a vigilant eye on these key indicators is advised as traders navigate the ebbs and flows of this enduring market trend. So they're basically saying more than likely it's going to, bounce back up from here. So this is a great time to buy if you're trying to capitalize. But if it did for some reason, and like they say, a lot of times are crazy. If it did break below, it'd probably see $20. But on the other hand, if it broke above this resistance, it'd probably be 26.50. So you never know. Now let's go into King Jong Un meeting with Vladimir Putin. By the way, did you guys know there's 500 ounces of silver in a single Tomahawk missile? Think about that. A lot of people don't factor in war how much silver that uses up, and that 500 ounces isn't going to be recycled, right? Blown to smithereens. CNN, Vladimir Putin has said Russia is considering and discussing some military cooperation with North Korea following a summit at which the country's leader, Kim Jong-un, appeared to endorse Moscow's war on Ukraine. The leaders met at this cosmodrome in Russia's far east as both countries face international isolation over Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. This is nuclear weapons ballistic missile program. They were showing Kim Jong-un. I actually saw a video of this. They were showing him the missile facility or the nuke facility or whatever, the nuclear facility. He was checking it out. They last met in 2019, but the meeting came after U.S. officials warned that Russia and North Korea are actively advancing in a potential arms deal that could see Pyongyang provide weapons for Moscow to use in its faltering Ukraine war in exchange for sanctioned ballistic missile technology. Putin was asked if he discussed military technical cooperation with Kim during the leaders' meeting. In his response, Putin acknowledged there's certain restrictions in his place which Moscow fully complies with, but admitted there are areas open for discussion and consideration, suggesting the presence of potential prospects for cooperation. Yeah, he basically was like, we're going to state for the record that we acknowledge there's restrictions, but if you guys, if you push my buttons, poke the bear, we'll see what happens. Well, there are certain restrictions, and Russia complies with all these restrictions, Putin told state-owned Russia. One, but there are things that we can, of course, talk about, discuss, think about, and here, too, there are prospects, he added. Kim said before a toast at a state dinner with Putin that he is certain that the Russian people and its military will emerge victorious in the fight to punish the evil forces that ambitiously pursue hegemony and expansion. Without naming Ukraine, he basically said that Russia is going to have this victory. Kim Jong-un also said he's always going to be standing with Russia. Probably a smart decision. But the leader, this is interesting, the leader of North Korea shows great interest in space, in rocketry, and they are trying to develop space. We'll show our new objects, Putin said. We'll talk about all the issues without haste. There is time. And wasn't it India that just landed on the dark side of the moon? Yeah, it was India. Because last time they tried it a couple of years ago, it crashed. I remember watching that live, actually. It was pretty sad. But yeah, they landed this time successfully on the dark side of the moon. The first country to do so, I'm pretty sure. Except for, the Apollo mission, I think, maybe tried, or whatever happened to that situation. There's a lot of movies about it, but regardless, the talks between the two leaders, which lasted a total of 5 hours, were very substantive. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said, according to RIA. Russia shows, or North Korea claims huge interest in developing bilateral ties with Russia. So yeah, they met at the Space Center. So during the tour, two leaders inspected the complex where Russia plans to launch its next generation of spacecraft. Oh, okay. So it wasn't a nuclear facility. It was, space facility, basically, right? A testing site or whatever, or where they build their rockets. So satellite technology. Oh yeah, that's why Putin was there, because or that's why Kim Jong Un was there, because he wants surveillance on, or he wants to put satellites up to not spot to keep eye on something they have. That's what I read earlier, and Russia would be best to do that for him, and that's why Vladimir Putin was showing Kim Jong Un, I'm trying to see if they mention exactly why he's putting those satellites up. Hours before the summit, North Korea launched 2 short-range ballistic missiles into the waters off the east coast of Korean Peninsula. 2 ballistic missiles were fired by North Korea. Each traveled about 650 kilometers, 400 miles before falling into the sea. Man, think about like the whales and crap. They're just swimming, minding their own business, so peaceful. All of a sudden, 2 ballistic missiles just come crashing down out of the sky. So anyways, let's go into the second crazy story. Mexican Congress holds hearing on UFOs featuring purported alien bodies. So I also checked this out. 2, I guess, carcasses. I don't know. 2 mummified aliens. They're like 3 feet tall. So Mexico came out publicly live today, September 13th. It was or yesterday actually. I think it was live yesterday. The broadcast was yesterday. Now people are picking it up. Maybe it was this morning. I don't know. But they came out cold turkey, just no leading up to it, no hinting. They just said, "Yo, we have 2 alien bodies. We've been seeing UFOs for decades now, and they're real." Like it says, Mexican lawmakers heard testimony that we are not alone in the universe and saw alleged remains. And the craziest thing about this is, one of these aliens has 3 eggs inside of it. Eggs. And they aren't hatched. And scientists have already done tons of studies. They say 35% of their DNA is alien, pun intended, or no pun intended. But yeah, here's some pictures. One of them has eggs in it, so it's pregnant. And they said that they're inviting all the scientists around the world to fact check, because they said we did the experiments, and if anyone doesn't believe us, they even have a website posting all of the scientific data, the documents, the evidence that they collected, so anyone can try to disprove them, which is pretty crazy. If this was a hoax, they wouldn't release that type of information. What do you guys think, though? 1, do you believe in aliens? And 2, do you think these 2 are real aliens? Interesting stuff. I don't know, man. Yeah, I can affirm these bodies have no relation with 2 human beings. Oh, and the craziest part is now NASA tomorrow is releasing something about UAPs, right? The day after Mexico comes out and says this, now NASA's like, okay, tomorrow we're talking about UAPs tomorrow. That's crazy, right? See, look, NASA set to discuss findings from the study on Thursday. So, man, and then they just had that press conference with David Grush and the flight commander, what's the guy's name? Man, I forget, but he was in the Nipich. He got the Tic Tac UFO on footage, and there was another one. All very credible people. If you haven't seen the video of the Tic Tac, it's insane. A lot of you probably aren't into this stuff. I do. Just watch it. I'm interested in everything, right? I'm just a curious person in every subject. I mean, ancient Egypt and whatever it is. I just like learning stuff, so this does interest me. But anyways, yeah. Let me know what you think about this as well. I'm going to wrap this video up here. This video is pretty long, so I'm going to wrap things up. Remember, I will see you guys tomorrow because I do post daily videos. I am doing a massive silver giveaway. You don't want to miss it. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Actually, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.